All right, welcome back, everyone. We have a lot to cover about, including one particular press conference that's going to get on Tyler's nerves for a little bit.
Dude, I don't think it's just me. I think it's almost everyone that is in the Delaware Valley.
Pretty much, the Delaware Valley.
As displeased with Dave's comments as I am, but we'll save that for later.
We'll save the press conference.
Yeah.
Just keep listening.
Keep listening and you'll hear me freak out eventually. All right?
But we got a football game at 1 o'clock on Sunday.
And it's a big football game, too.
Yeah, this is a big game for the Eagles. You know, going up against the Vikings, the Vikings are a decent team, and then going up against Carson Wentz, who's...
I'm more worried about their head coach than I am about the actual personnel on the field. The fact that their head coach seems to just, no matter who he has on his roster, he just seems to churn out wins and put up great game plans.
He got, 14 wins and then 13 wins?
Yeah, and with quarterbacks that were, average at best. Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Those are average guys.
And then you're coming into another average quarterback with Carson Wentz.
The wagon is coming back to Philadelphia, ladies and gentlemen.
See, that's what I'm worried about. Wentz versus Hurts. And because of the Eagles, they're on the 2-game losing streak. You're going and playing Carson Wentz. Nothing is good here.
You basically just had a veteran up and quit on you in the middle of a season where you're trying to get to a Super Bowl.
Zadarius Smith just retiring.
You had a guy who was ring chasing that left the team.
Pretty much, yeah.
What does that say about how he felt about how this team looks?
Yeah, I don't know if it was just how he felt, if his body wasn't well and he was like, I can't continue, or if it was like, I can't deal with the problems in the locker room.
Well, I think on Instagram or Twitter or something, I heard on the radio, someone put out that he said it was for personal reasons, but they didn't elaborate any further than that, so that could mean a lot of different things.
It could, yeah.
You know? That could mean personally, I just don't think I can do it anymore. Or it's personally, I can't stand being in here with all the rest of these guys.
Yeah. I'm
going to get out.
It's one of two things we don't know.
So, it's not a good thing heading into a matchup where if you don't win this game...
You're sitting at 4-3.
And then you go up against the Giants, the Packers... And the
Lions. So I mean, you should be able to beat the Giants, but I mean, what if we saw in MetLife?
Exactly.
And then the Packers and the Lions, I mean, they're not going to be, that's not a walk in the park.
Exactly.
Right. You're playing.
If you don't win this game, there's a real possibility you could end and go into the bye week with a losing record.
Yeah, I mean, they would be 4-4 going into the bye week if they don't beat the Vikings and Giants. But I mean, like what I said, the Cowboys, not the... the Cowboys. the
Vikings.
The Packers and Lions aren't walks in the park. They're playoff caliber teams. They got players like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Michael Parsons.
Yeah, I mean, I know that
Josh Jacobs.
Packers haven't exactly looked great the past 2 weeks, but they still have a formidable roster. Same with the Eagles.
They're
the same reason that we all sit here.
They have a formidable roster, but
right.
It doesn't matter until it's game time.
Exactly. And
you could sit here and have the best roster on paper, but then you go and lose to the Giants.
Well, I mean, what about the Phillies in 2023? They clearly had the better roster on paper than the Arizona Diamondbacks. It didn't freaking matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
They came up short.
If you're not able to do anything with the fact that you have all these great people on paper, then doesn't matter.
Yeah. It doesn't matter about the roster. It matters about the performance of the game.
Yeah. And honestly, if we could just see 4 full quarters of football that doesn't look like it's fucking college level football that's being played in the NFL, I would be happy with that. Even if
well, all the players are because all the players come from Georgia and Alabama, so they're actually playing an SEC game instead of NFL.
Dude, seriously, I would be happy if they lost, but they actually looked like a complete team the entire game, as long as they don't get killed.
And we should look like a complete team. We should have most of our offensive and defensive starters playing.
Yes, Jalen Carter, they have already confirmed he will play. Mitchell,
Carter's playing. Q is gonna play, I think.
Yeah, he was full participant yesterday in practice.
All right,
I suspect he's gonna be full participant again today. And then Saturday, they might just do a light walkbthrough, depending upon how he's feeling.
Yeah, they'll probably do a walkthrough the day before, and then you got Q, who's going to play. Landon Dickerson, who is probably going to play.
He was a full participant yesterday in practice as well.
That's
so
perfect. And then you got Jalen Carter, who is going to play. So you're going to have all your.
No, there's going to be no excuses.
Yeah,
if you
there's
lose
no
this
excuses. You have all your offensive and defensive starters, unless AJ Brown wants to put on like a tutu and say he's a diva.
Yeah, well, even if you don't have AJ Brown, you still should at least look competitive in this game.
They should look complete. I mean,
it should not look like last week where you get completely bullied by a lesser team.
Mm-hmm. You know Carson Wentz likes to turn the ball over.
Yes, and last time he played the Eagles, he took 9 sacks.
Yeah, 9 sacks.
That's a lot.
And that was without Jalen Carter and the guys that
was back when he was with
Washington,
the Commanders, which was what? 2 to 3 years ago now?
3 years ago.
3 years ago, yeah. So that was before Carter.
We didn't have Jalen Carter.
That was rookie year Jordan Davis, where he was still like really out of shape.
Now we got a healthy Jordan Davis. We got Jalen Carter, one of the best defensive linemen in the league.
Only thing is that the edge rusher position has definitely dropped off from that time to now. You know, back then you had Fletcher Cox, you had Josh Sweat.
Yeah, you don't got Josh Sweat anymore.
You had Milton Williams. You don't have those guys anymore. You know, now you got. Look, Jalix Hunt has produced what 1.5 sacks over 6 games.
You got Jalix Hunt, and that's about it, pretty much.
And then, who else really gets pressure on the quarterback? I don't think there's a single player on this team with more than 3 sacks through 6 games on this team.
Jordan Davis gets the most pressure, and then he ends up slipping.
Well, Jordan Davis gets the most pressure, but it's hard to get sacks up the middle. You know, that's the reason why people say Jalen Carter is one of the best defensive players. Even though he doesn't have the sack stats and stuff like that, it's because when you're able to push up the pocket, it's a lot easier to see that the pressure's coming to you and I need to get rid of the ball. You know? If you don't see that there's someone coming on your blind side, then you don't know to get rid of the ball immediately. Oh crap, I need to get rid of this now. I don't even care if it's a good throw. I just need to get rid of the ball. And when you have pressure coming up the middle and it's right in the quarterback's face, a lot of times they do have the opportunity to just throw the ball away. So even though he doesn't have the sack numbers, it's the play disruption, the fact that he gets into the backfield as easily as it seems like he has these first 6 games is the thing that you really need to see from the defensive middle line. The sacks are supposed to come from the outside. That's why Aaron Donald was so valued as a defensive tackle, because he was able to get 11, 13 sacks as a DT, which is insane.
Yeah, that's insane from Aaron Donald.
That's insane, dude. I didn't realize it when I was growing up how actually dominant Aaron Donald was.
Is elite.
He was, without a doubt, probably the best defensive player that we've seen probably of our generation.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I'd give it to Aaron Donald. I mean, you could say Myles Garrett is probably
you could say Myles Garrett as well. But the fact that Jalen Carter is in that category or that echelon of players with those two shows how impactful he is and how much losing him really hurts this team.
And same with Q.
Yeah, same with Quinyon Mitchell. I mean,
he's
like Darrelle Revis out there.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like
you just put him on an island, he's going to take care of it.
Without Q, it's just cornerbacks and friends. I mean, they were Keely Ringo, like I said last time, was getting cooked.
For some reason, when you ever watch Happy Tree Friends before?
No.
So Happy Tree Friends was this YouTube thing that used to be big, maybe I want to say 10 years ago, and it was just animated characters. They were all technically friends, but they would all just get into these really, really bad situations where they would hurt themselves. They would have a whole bunch of stuff that would happen to them. And when you say cornerbacks and friends, that's the image that I get. I get the image of Adoree Jackson and
I've never seen
these cornerbacks
Happy Tree Friends ever.
Going through this awful, grueling process.
Is this supposed to be a children's show?
No.
Okay.
It's actually very gruesome. Viewer discretion is advised if you do want to go and find out what I'm talking about.
Children's characters.
It does, but it's very dark. It's that type of animation, but there's horrible things that happen to them. Their arm gets chopped off or something in the video and stuff like that. I'm looking at the
pictures right now.
And it gets gruesome.
Beating them with a baseball bat.
Yeah, it gets gruesome, and that's what I feel like this cornerback room is that picture right there. When you always say cornerback and friends. That's the image that comes up in
Dude,
my
their
mind.
cornerbacks are so bad. Besides, without Q, dude,
Like
it's
that's what
crazy.
happens to the Eagles secondary every game. Is that
Pretty
on the
much,
computer
yeah.
screen right there? Like they get demolished.
Well, did you hear that the Eagles are trying to make a push for Trey Hendrickson?
I think it's too little, too late at this point. I feel like
Well, you got the
it's already week 6.
yeah.
Like,
When is the? It's week 7. When is the?
well,
trade
yeah, week
deadline?
7. I think trade deadline is week 9 or week 10. But I mean, it's already week 7. You're gonna trade for him at this point in the season. If you were gonna trade for him, you would have traded for him in the offseason. You wouldn't trade for
Yeah, but I
him
guess
at this point.
but during the offseason, remember he was holding out.
Yeah, and he did sign the extension.
He signed the extension, but like if the Eagles are gonna trade like decent value for him, I'm talking like second and first round picks, you gotta give him an extension.
Well,
I'm not trading a first round pick for a
Exactly.
guy that's not gonna be on my team next year.
exactly. And even if you do give up maybe a marginal, piece, like something that's not as good as a second round pick, like maybe you're able to get away with 2/3 and I don't know, and some type of low player contract maybe to clear up just a little bit of money to be able to do some money with. If you actually do want to re-sign him, then you could probably go that avenue. But if you have to give up more than a third round pick for him at this point in the season,
There's not even a point in trading for him.
right? Like I understand he's a defensive end and that their job is pretty simple, rush the quarterback, but it's not simple in a Vic Fangio scheme. Vic Fangio likes to have his defensive ends rush. He likes to have them drop in pass coverage. He likes to have them play the flat. Like he likes to deploy his defensive ends in a lot different ways than just go rush the quarterback. And for Trey Hendrickson to learn that system 7 weeks into the year
Yeah,
is
it's-
not a recipe for success.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why,
like-
bringing in Shaq Leonard.
Yeah, that's why that's why I'm saying like I would love to have him, but it's too late in the
It's too
season
late,
at this
yeah.
point
I
to
mean,
actually entertain
I don't know
it.
what we're gonna have to do to improve the edge rush.
Now, if you want to bring in maybe someone that has had previous experience playing under Vic Fangio for defensive end, sure, I'd be more willing for that because that's someone that's at least familiar with the scheme and it shouldn't take them too long to adjust. Maybe you're thinking 2 weeks for them to like really nail it down. Trey Hendrickson comes in, it might be 5-6 weeks before he actually has a full grasp of what he's supposed to be doing. And if that's the case, it's already week 13. By the time he's figured it out, it's too late.
Yeah, you're at 14, 15, 16. So you're at 5 weeks, and then possibly some playoff games.
Yeah. So if you were going to make this move, it would have had to be in the offseason or like week 1 to 2.
Yeah, unless they can, I mean, get him for a fourth or
Now, the only way
a third or a fifth and a fourth. I don't know, but
I would say pull the trigger on it is if, God forbid, someone else goes down with an injury this game and your room is
like
really depleted.
Like if J-Lex Hunt went
Right.
down, you got
Or-
Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, if either, he went down or, like Ajomo went down, or even though Ajomo's defensive tackle. But still, if you have another guy go down on that defensive line where it's already very thin with what you have to be in the position to add someone else, whether or not that's Trey Hendrickson or someone other than Trey Hendrickson that you feel like you could actually get some good play while they're still learning the system. And that's the thing that you really got to get, because the Eagles aren't going to be making a trade now for someone that's going to impact the team in 4 weeks, right?
No.
They're going to be making a trade now for someone that's going to come in and make an impact immediately. They're going to be trying to do like kind of how they tried to do the Kevin Byard thing. Byard had previous experience playing under Vic Fangio, but he was 32 years old. He had lost a step, so it didn't work that way. You need to find a younger type of version of that. Someone that has played for Vic Fangio before, but maybe someone that's not in their, early 30s.
No,
But someone that's
I
maybe
agree with you,
28,
yeah,
29.
Trey Hendrickson is 31.
Right.
Who knows how much years he has left?
And even if it's not like, Trey Hendrickson, I wouldn't be worried about just because his play for this season has been good. And I don't think him just going to another team, you would see a drop off in his like play. I just think
you wouldn't see a drop off.
Right.
You might see,
you might see some confusion for a little bit.
Confusion.
And that's not what
answer.
Yeah, that's not what the defense needs.
You don't need confusion.
Right.
Week 14.
Exactly. You need someone that's going to be able to come in here, adapt quickly, learn the defense at a fast rate, and someone that you can probably plug in and play immediately the first week that you get them. Like, you're not going to have another Jacorian Bennett trade where, oh yeah, let's trade for him, and then we're going to wait to play him for 3 weeks.
Yeah, like what?
Like, you're not going to have that again. If they're going to trade for someone, it's going to be someone to come in, someone probably to start, not be a rotation piece, and someone that will take a quick grasp of the concept of Vic Fangio's defense. I don't really know if they have a player that's out there right now for that.
The only player I can think of that's been under Vic Fangio, it's a free agent, is CJ, but obviously he's not an edge rusher.
Right. And there are some young pieces on bad teams that you could potentially trade for that Vic Fangio previously had been a part of their organization, and that's the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins are probably not going to be a playoff team this year.
The Dolphins are 1-5.
They're probably 1 to 2 loses away, or one really bad loss away from firing their head coach.
Well, they just had a really bad loss against the Chargers.
No, like a bad loss is in like embarrassing score-wise. Not like a bad loss is in like, oh, that was like a heartbreaker. I mean like 40-7. Like if they have a loss like that at some point over the next 2 to 3 weeks, Mike McDaniel is probably going to get fired.
Okay.
In season, I would expect.
I would assume in season as well.
And if that's the case, then you're going to bring in someone new, head coach-wise. They might not be interested in having the same players that were around for the previous regime. Now, some of the guys that are in Miami still are there from when Vic Fangio was defensive coordinator for Miami, 3 years ago? I think 3 or 4 seasons ago.
He was in Miami still.
One of the edge rushers, I think they said he was like a 26-year-old. Forget what his name is. They said that that's someone that I think has 1 year of contract eligibility after this season. And then there's another guy that's on his 5th year option as well. That's an edge rusher on Miami. And I heard the idea, Bill Colarulo floating it out there, that potentially if they are to make a trade for defensive ends, it would potentially be one of those 2 guys from Miami. Only problem is they kind of ran Vic Fangio out of Miami because they didn't like playing for him.
Then they're not going to come here.
That's the only problem. So I don't really know where they go with this because it seems like they're almost in a scenario where anything they do, unless they make the perfect move, it's not going to work out the way that the fans want it to. And I guess that just means we have to expect probably another Dave Dombrowski-like comment from the top of this organization where the guys that are here just need to do better.
It's going to be like 23 all over again. And then we're going to get a new offensive coordinator and a new defense and go out and win the Super Bowl again.
Well, I don't think Vic is under any type of pressure for his job, or at least I haven't really seen anything that would indicate that.
Yeah.
And I feel like Sirianni has built up a little bit of credit as well, but on, like a 5-6 game losing streak, then that could potentially be called into question with Sirianni.
Who knows if Sirianni is on the hot seat.
Exactly. Even though he did just win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's the thing. We
have seen the team do this before. They fired Doug Peterson a year after 2 seasons after winning the Super Bowl.
A couple seasons after the Super Bowl.
So it's not completely unrealistic to think that, it would be a little early doing it this year. But the Eagles are not a franchise that's afraid to make that decision in the middle of a season.
No.
They've shown over and over again that if there's something that they think they can help by getting rid of a guy mid-season, they're going to do it. So I don't know really how that is going to play out, but I do think that they make some type of trade before the trade deadline, whether or not that's for a defensive back or a defensive end.
They'll make a trade.
They'll have one of those 2 positions.
Yeah, I genuinely think that Howie's going to have to make a trade. I mean, he'll be forced to pretty much.
Yeah,
Well, not be
especially
forced to, but like he'll be definitely encouraged to make a trade, seeing that the current state of this team. And then he already tried improving the defensive end, trying to get to Darius Smith, and now
and he quit.
he basically just quit on them.
He quit on the team. So you're gonna have to find someone else. And I mean, what, you're gonna elevate someone from the practice squad to be the saving grace? I don't think so.
And I don't think so either.
So they're not exactly in a good spot. But there is a little bit of hope that, we have seen at least spurts of very good play from the Eagles this season. They just need to turn those spurts into full games.
Yeah.
If they can turn that into a full game, then I don't really think there's going to be a lot of people sitting here worried if they go out and they have a complete game against the Vikings. I think that'll completely restore faith from the fan base.
Yeah, it'll definitely restore faith in the Eagles fans. You already know that.
Yeah. So they just need to go out and have a complete performance. Whether or not they win or lose, if they keep it close and they actually look like a team that's an NFL team, then I think things will get much better.
They'll have 10 days to get their shit together.
Yeah.
So hopefully that 10 days was a time to recuperate and, rest and get healthy. It's pretty much like a mini bye.
Yeah.
Think about it.
And I mean, this is, we're 6 weeks in, we're about to start week 7. So this is a pretty decent sample size here that you've got if they're going to win this game, they're going to have to be a lot better than what their rankings show they are. Because their rankings do not show anything good. Eagles defense so far, 20th in points allowed, 23rd in yards allowed.
Yeah, I mean
25th in plays run against the defense, so they can't get off the field. 27th in rushing yards allowed. 25th in first downs allowed.
You can blame the Giants for giving up like a million of them.
Like that's not a recipe for a winning defense, and the offense isn't doing any better either. They are 11th in points scored, but you got to remember, 14 of those points have come from block kicks.
Yeah, you got the block punt and the blocked field goal. I don't know. I'm surprised they count that as an offensive.
Yeah, it's because it doesn't count it as offensive or defensive points. It's just total points scored.
I was going to say, you think it would count as maybe like special teams.
Right, but they're 11th in that. So even with the added scoring that you're getting from the fact that your special teams has gotten you some points, plus your defense, they're still only 11th.
Yeah, which is
not very good. You were to take out the defensive and the special teams scores, they would probably be around 18, 19, 20. They're 27th in yards accumulated, the offense. They're 21st in the amount of total plays run. They're 28th.
Yeah, because all they do is just run a...
They just run.
They'll run and
they don't get first downs.
And they'll run and then they'll throw to Goddard for 2 yards.
Like, dude, these are awful rankings. They're 28th in yards per play with 4.7 yards per play.
All of these are in the 20s.
23rd in rushing yards. 28th in rushing yards per attempt. 26th in passing yards. 24th. They're 26th in passing yards.
They want to run the football, and that doesn't work. They want to pass the football, and it doesn't want to work.
Hang on. Listen to this stat, because this is ridiculous. So they're 26th in passing yards, right? They're 22nd in passing attempts, which means they're not attempting to pass the ball very much. So how are they 24th in sacks allowed? How is that possible? If they're throwing the ball in a case where they're the bottom 8 of the league, they're in the bottom 8 of the league in how many attempts they have throwing the ball.
Well, Hurts scrambles too much. And then they got guys out there like Brett Toth getting crushed like a pancake.
Right, but they've allowed 18 sacks so far this year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of sacks.
That is a lot of sacks through only
6 games.
6 games. That's
2 a game.
3 a game.
Yeah, that's 3 sacks a game. Like, sorry for my horrible math there. But yeah, that's 3 sacks a game. That's way too much. You can't
21st in first downs accumulated, 27th in penalty yards. Well, you can thank Keely Ringo for the penalty yards.
Like, those rankings are absolutely abysmal. This team should not have 4 wins with those rankings.
How many turnovers do they have? They don't have a lot, right?
They don't have a lot of turnovers. I believe total on the year, they've forced 7. in 6 games.
Okay, that's not bad because Hurts only has 1 pick.
For the offense.
Yeah, for the
offense. I believe they only have the 2.
He has the fumble
because
and
you
the
have the
pick.
fumble and the pick. So there's only been 2 turnovers by the offense.
The turnovers for the offense has been
very good.
It's been good, yeah.
But it doesn't matter if you can't
move
the ball up the field.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if you don't turn the ball over.
we're not gonna hold the football like we're holding a child and we're cradling it. We gotta start throwing it, and
you gotta stop. The Eagles need to stop being conservative at the cost of getting themselves first downs. They have to start pushing the envelope to get first downs. They have to be aggressive. If Hurts is, if you have to risk an interception for a throw, you're gonna have to risk an interception, especially at a certain point in the game. And no matter what is going on in the game, the whole purpose of dumbing it down to the lamest perspective is your team is trying to gain ground on the other team. Correct? That's basically the whole point of football. Your team is just trying to gain yards into enemy territory. If you can't pick up first downs, it doesn't matter if you don't turn the ball over because you're not gaining yards.
You're not gaining any yards. You're gaining 5 to 6 yards of drive.
It doesn't matter.
And that's not enough to get a first down. You have to punt.
Right. It doesn't matter if I'm turning the ball over 0 times a game and yet I'm only accumulating 150 yards of offense. I'm not going to win.
They're just gonna have to prevent the turnovers, force the turnovers, and play better than the rankings because they are better than
they play like a scared offense, dude.
They do. They're scared.
They play like an offense that is scared to lose the game instead of an offense that takes control to win the game.
They should wear ghost costumes because they're always scared.
Yeah, I mean, look at the weapons that they have on this team. Just the weapons that they have, even with the deteriorated offensive line.
What we told you, this team's fantastic on paper, Offensive player of the year in Saquon, Super Bowl MVP in Hurts.
One of the best wide receivers in A.J. Brown.
Well, who won? AJ can go request a trade, and then he can go fuck off because he's going to win everything here, and he's not going to win shit wherever he's going to. If he goes to the Patriots, have fun going 10-7 and getting kicked out of the wild card.
Dude, I don't know. If he goes to the Patriots, Drake May's been playing well. Him and Stephon Diggs is a 1-2. That seems pretty good to me. You got a young rookie running back. You got Hunter Henry as one of the better tight ends.
The Bills are still going to walk away with the division.
Yeah, I agree. But you can't, they would at least be a playoff team, I would feel at that point.
Team, but I don't see him going any farther than the wild card.
And Drake May would make the attempt to get the ball to A.J. Brown.
Yeah, 100%, obviously.
More than Jalen Hurts does.
Yeah, Hurts needs to show why he is a top quarterback in this league.
Well, yeah. And the offense
he cannot get outplayed by his
dude,
precursor.
if he gets outplayed by Carson Wentz, the link is going to be burned to the freaking ground by the end of the day. You're going to have to get Trump to send in the National Guard to defend Lincoln Financial.
He should have said in the city to begin with because the district attorney sucks.
If they lose and Carson Wentz outplays Jalen Hurts, hell will freeze over in this city. There will be...
Never watching a game ever again.
There will be torches and pitchforks. There will be people that are out on the street who are flipping cars. It's going to get rowdy if they end up losing this game. And especially if it's half the Vikings won last week where Carson Wentz throws 2 interceptions, then leads the team back to win the game on the final drive. If that happens, this city is going to explode. There's going to be an explosion here in some factory somewhere because someone's going to get pissed off enough to do it.
It's not like the Vikings also have a lot of offensive weapons on the Jets, Jordan Addison, Hawkinson.
And not only do they have a lot of offensive weapons, they have a very, very smart and good offensive-minded coach that no matter what, gets his players open and the ball. This is what Kevin Patullo needs to do.
Yeah, this is not going to be no easy game, so it's going to be...
Like, Patullo, maybe take a break from calling plays this game and just watch from the sidelines your opponent and how your opponent calls the game. See how Kevin Connell does it.
Mm-hmm.
See what you can incorporate.
Kevin O'Connell's a very good coach.
Exactly. Like, see what you can incorporate just from going up against him this game. I'm sure you'll see 4 or 5 different plays from Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings offense that us as fans are going to sit there and go, holy crap, what a play design.
So it's going to be a real interesting game on Sunday. Not going to be easy, but if
No.
the Eagles walk out of there with a complete game and a win, we'll take it.
What's your score prediction?
45-14 Vikings.
You think it's going to be a beatdown?
Yeah, I have no hope.
I don't think it's going to be a beatdown by any means.
Well, we'll see after the first drive when they do their little shovel pass to Goddard and Saquon, and then that's when I'll know I can sit back in my chair and relax and say, this game's over.
Well, I know that, or not that I know, but you're expecting Carson Wentz is probably going to turn the ball over at some point.
Oh, yeah, he's going
And
to turn the ball over.
The Eagles are going to have to capitalize when he does. If they do, and they score points off those turnovers, they probably win this game. If they don't, and they're only able to get field goals out of the fact that they're turning the ball over and getting in good field position, then they're probably going to lose. I do believe
you can't rely on just that
they will be able to turn the ball over in extremely advantageous positions just because they're going to get to Carson and probably at least get a couple of sacks this game, I would assume. One thing is that Wentz did get the ball out very, very quickly last week, so I would expect probably more of that and a lot more short and intermediate routes. So if that's the case, they're going to have to blitz and create that pressure to get there within, 2 seconds. In between that 2 to 3 second range, they got to get home. If they don't, this could end up being very ugly.
You're giving Carson Wentz a lot of time to throw the football.
Right. And if you give any NFL quarterback too much time to throw the football, I don't care if it's Jake Delhomme. They will make you look silly.
Yeah.
They will. They just absolutely will. It could be Johnny freaking Manziel out there. It doesn't matter.
Johnny Manziel.
Dude, it could be Johnny Manziel after going out and having 47 beers at a college party the night before. If
isn't
he comes in...
Isn't he in jail?
He might be. No idea what happened to him. But, if you give any quarterback time in this league, they're going to make you pay for it. And the Eagles don't really have the secondary right now to deal with the fact that quarterbacks have a lot of time. It's one needs to complement the other. The fact that the defensive line isn't getting home is making the defensive backs even worse than what they already are. And the fact that the defensive backs are letting people get open immediately is also making the defensive line seem worse than what they really are. So the fact that neither of them are performing at their peak performance is really hurting the other avenue of the defense. And something has to get better. One thing has to improve for the other to improve. You see what I'm saying? They're completely correlated. Your pass rush and your pass defense in the secondary and giving up big explosive plays are completely related. And if you're not able to get to the quarterback, you're going to give up a lot of big plays. You're not going to stop teams from scoring points in the National Football League. I don't care who it is that's out there as your defensive back. They're not going to be able to cover a wide receiver for 5 seconds. Consistently, at least.
They're going to have Keely Ringo and Justin Jefferson, so the season's over.
Bro, you give Justin Jefferson 5 seconds to work with against Keely Ringo? Ringo's getting cooked 8 out of 10 times.
Ringo is going to be at the 50-yard line, and Justin Jefferson's going to be...
At the 30.
No, he's walking into the end zone.
That's the thing that needs to improve. If one of those two areas improve, you will see the other area improve as well. But if neither of them are going to improve, this defense is going to get a whole lot worse. Mm-hmm. But my score prediction, Eagles 27, Vikings 24.
I don't think the Eagles are going to win this game.
I do think they bounce back and win this game, even though it's on the road. Vikings are coming off emotional win. Oh, wait, no, this game is at Lincoln Financial Field, right? So it's home.
No, it's in Minnesota.
Okay, it is in Minnesota. So, you are getting them coming back from Europe. They're probably going to be a little jet-lagged. You got to assume that they might be a little sleepwalking, maybe, the first couple of drives. And you got to be able to take advantage of it. If not, this if you don't score some points early in this game, because the Vikings are probably going to get better as this game goes along.
Yeah, because they're going to wake up.
Yeah. And if you don't take advantage of that slow start that the Vikings are probably going to have, you might find yourself in a big hole by the end of the third quarter.
That's what I'm thinking, too.
Yeah. So it could go either way, but I do have confidence that the Eagles will get off to a fast start because they have done that so far this season where they are scoring points in the first quarter now. It's not like last season where, 10 games into the year, we were like, are they going to score
in the first quarter and then everything comes in the second half?
Exactly. So it's the complete opposite this year. As long as they're able to build up a little bit of that lead before the Vikings really start to come into the game, I have faith they'll be able to do enough to keep Carson Wentz
I hope so.
at bay and win.
We'll just have to see when it comes on Sunday.
Now, you want to get to the fantasy start and sits since we're doing the football stuff right now?
I didn't write any players, so.
Oh, all right. Well, here.
Just do yours.
So, my fantasy start and sits, you can just say whether or not you agree with them. There we go. That works,
fine,
right?
Yeah.
So, I got Matthew Stafford going up against pretty bad Jacksonville defense. Probably going to be a high-scoring game. And
yeah, that'll be a high-scoring game. Matthew Stafford. He's playing without Puka, though, so.
Yeah, he is playing without Puka, but also, quick thing on that. I didn't get a chance to write this in because, the Puka injury news just came out like an hour ago. But anyone that's a bettor out there, Tyler Higbee is probably going to be a great option this week. With Puka being down, Tyler Higbee has had 5 receptions in 3 of the last 4 games. And that was with Puka Nacua.
So he's going to get targeted more?
Yeah, without Puka Nacua,
Adams.
I would expect Tyler Higbee's probably going to get 7 to 8 catches this game. So he's probably going to go over on his receptions, over on his yards. He might get a touchdown. If Tyler Higbee is available in your fantasy league, that might be someone to consider, picking up.
Yeah.
But back to quarterbacks. I got Matthew Stafford going up against Jacksonville. And I also got Caleb Williams, who's been performing much better recently.
Yeah, Caleb Williams has been pretty good.
And he's going up against a pretty porous New Orleans defense. New Orleans doesn't really look like they have anything good about that
New
team
Orleans
right
is
now.
Just,
the offense isn't very good. The defense isn't very good.
It's just Kellen Moore.
Yeah, so that's probably a very good play. And then for my running backs, I got J.K. Dobbins. Strangely enough, his over-under rushing yards, I was looking at this earlier, is only at like 66 and a half.
Yeah, because look what the Giants did to Saquon.
Yeah,
That's
but he's gone over 77 in 5 out of 6 games so far this year, which I just think that's really, really low number, even though the Giants do have a good defensive line.
Yeah.
For someone that's gotten 77 in 5 out of 6 games, to set his line at 66 and a half seems a bit low.
The sportsbook is probably so astonished because they were able to hold Saquon.
Right.
That's why his thing is so low. So.
But still, that would be something that, if you're a bettor, maybe consider looking at that.
Taking the over.
Taking the over there. But I do think J.K. Dobbins is going to have a good game, even though R.J. Harvey has been like his steady backup. Dobbins is 100% getting most of the touches, and I think he had 16 or 17 rushing attempts last game, and he had 3 receptions. If he's going to put out that same type of volume against the Giants, then he's going to be a very good start for you this week. Now, aside from him, I got the other guy in our division, not named Saquon Barkley, and that's Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt going up against Dallas, because Dallas hasn't seemed like they've been able to stop anyone at any facet of the defense.
They got Rico Dowdle like 200-plus yards.
Yeah, so the fact that Dallas can't seem to stop the rush or the pass,
I would definitely start
anyone going against them.
Yeah, stop anything.
They can't do anything right now. So, honestly, any player that's going up against Dallas in whatever week it is, look at their running backs and look at their wide receivers. They're probably going to have a pretty advantageous matchup against a very, very weak Cowboys defense. And then wide receivers, I got Keenan Allen, who has started to come on recently since Quentin Johnson had the first 3 big games. It's kind of been Keenan Allen slowly taking over that role again of, I'm Keenan Allen in LA. Justin Herbert, you're going to throw me the ball 11 times like you used to. He had 7 targets last week. He had 6 receptions. He had a touchdown. And he's going up against Indianapolis, who hasn't had a very good time stopping offenses in general so far this season. A lot of games that they've played have been very high-scoring games. So,
Been very close games, too.
yeah. So, for that alone, definitely go with Keenan Allen. And then I'm also going to go with probably maybe a little bit of a shocker here, especially with Rashee Rice coming back. But Hollywood Brown. I think Rashee Rice coming back actually helps Hollywood Brown significantly in the fact that he's no longer going to get safety help over the top. And you just saw him go berserk on Monday Night Football. He had, 11 catches for like 116 yards or something and a touchdown? So it seems like him and Patrick Mahomes are starting to finally get on the same page. And if he's going to continue feeding him the ball and Rashee Rice is going to be seeing a lot more of the defense attention, Hollywood Brown's going to start having much more production.
If he's more accustomed with Hollywood Brown, who's already been available for 6 games rather than Rashee Rice.
Right, and Rashee Rice, since technically he's the better player, he's going to get more of the defensive attention. Mm-hmm. So that's going to open up some stuff for Hollywood Brown. So Hollywood Brown would be a nice, option for you to start as well in this week. And then finally on to my 2 tight ends, good old Zach Ertz, just because, hey, he seems to always play well against Dallas.
Yeah.
He always scores against Dallas. Mm-hmm. And Dallas defense just sucks. So there you go. And besides him, I got Harold Fannin. They're going up against Miami. Miami just looks like a team that's completely thrown in the towel at this point. And they aren't even trying.
David Njoku isn't playing, so.
Right. So if you don't got Njoku and you're going up against a team that has basically quit on their head coach already, that's recipe there for a lot of fantasy points. And then on to my sits. I got Sam Darnold against Houston this week. Houston's got a very, very good defense. Not only do they have a very good defense, they're coming off a bye week. So they're going to be completely healthy. They're going to get after the quarterback. Sam Darnold's probably going to go down with like 4 sacks in this game, I want to say. Maybe 2 interceptions. And I have a feeling that Seattle is not going to be able to keep up with the Houston defense. And the Houston defense will win them that game.
Oh, wow. All right.
I don't think the Seahawks have a good shot against Houston this week.
K9 on here too. So
I did. And I also got Trevor Lawrence going up against the Rams. Even though Lawrence has been having, very good couple of weeks. Brian Thomas has come on recently. Rams still have a really good pass defense.
Rams still have a really good pass defensive secondary.
Still got a really good pass rush. So I'm expecting them to be able to rattle Trevor Lawrence a little bit. He is someone that likes to hold on to the ball maybe for too long. Probably going to take some sacks. He's going to be seeing a whole lot of pressure. Don't start Trevor Lawrence this week. Now, I do have Breece Hall here against Carolina, but I'm less bullish on that than I am with Kenneth Walker on Houston. If you have Kenneth Walker on your team, definitely sit him this week. 100% sit him this week. He splits time with Zach Charbonnet, and Houston just doesn't give up any rushing yards to feature backs, let alone to guys that split time. Breece Hall, even though I'm saying to sit him, I could see him potentially having, maybe like a 75-yard performance and a touchdown type of game. But in Carolina, it's going to be hot. It's going to be muggy. Jets just don't really look like they have anything together offensively, really, other than Breece Hall. That's kind of like the only guy for them. Garrett Wilson is good as well, but I would stay away from Breece Hall this week. I'd wait for a better matchup. You can probably find some better matchups with other guys you have on your roster to play this week. And then I got Michael Pittman going up against the Chargers. Danny Dimes has started to regress a little bit. He had the great 3 weeks.
Back into his Giants form.
Yeah, he had the great first 3 weeks, but he's regressing a little bit. Chargers have a good defense, and after getting embarrassed by the Kansas City Chiefs, I have to expect that they're going to come out with a little fire and intensity this game, and that does not bode well for Michael Pittman, I believe. Even though you might see him get targets, I don't think there's going to be a lot of open space for him to run. And my other guy is Wan'Dale Robinson. Now, I know Dallas defense, it's not...
Isn't he their wide receiver 1 with Malik out?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But he generally has not had very good games. Well, not that he hasn't. whenever he is someone that plays much better at home than on the road.
Okay.
And they're going to be in Denver. Denver's got a good defense. I would expect Wandale to probably see the bulk of the targets. I just don't know how many receptions he's actually going to haul in going up against the Defensive Player of the Year last year. And
Yeah, because he'll be on the Defensive Player of the Year unless they...
Yeah. Like, it's not like he's going up against last week, the same guy.
Man,
like,
who was the one guy...
He's going up against Pat Surtain.
Who was the one guy we were talking about last week? Who was the...
Oh, the guy from the
Walmart worker.
Yeah. He got cut from like 3 different teams.
Mm-hmm.
Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Yeah,
that's who it was. Lil Jordan Humphrey. Mm-hmm.
Target Lil Jordan Humphrey then.
Any of the wide receivers on this game. Maybe I would look at Scatabo just because they seem to use him a lot. His usage has just continued to go up. And he's extremely physical no matter what the defense throws at him. He's able to take a hit, bounce off, and just keep going. So that's kind of the only guy I would really be looking to start against this very good Denver defense, especially with the fact that Denver is probably feeling themselves a little bit after,
They just had a really bad win against the Jets.
They came back and won in a game that they did not play well enough to actually win that game, and yet they still found a way to came back and win. They're probably going to be feeling a little more confident coming into this game.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah. Especially against the Giants.
Yeah. And then last but not least, we got Hunter Henry going up against Tennessee. Tennessee is actually, for some reason, I don't know why. So I haven't seen anything as to why for this, but a lot of people are picking Tennessee to win this week against New England.
That's weird.
I guess because of the fact that New England just beat Buffalo, and maybe people are thinking that emotional game, that upset, they're going to maybe look ahead to a different opponent, and they might really not take Tennessee seriously. But I still think that New England is probably going to end up winning this game. I just don't know whether or not Hunter Henry is going to be a big part of the game plan, because they've got very, very good safety and linebacker play in Tennessee. And who is the guy that's most of the time covering the tight end? It's a safety or a linebacker. And if that's going to be the case, I'm expecting a lot of Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson, and a lot of Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, they're going to throw to Stephon Diggs a lot.
And then after him, I got Jake Tongs. I think George Kittle's coming back this week.
George Kittle's off of IR.
So for anyone that does not know, that has been using Jake Tongs the past couple of weeks, probably now would be a good time to
because I had Jake
at least bench him.
I had Jake Tongs, and it said like 1 point. I was like, I guess Kittle's back.
Yeah, so Kittle's back. Tongs is no longer fantasy relevant up until he shows us he still is.
Kittle goes back on IR again.
Right, or Kittle goes back on IR. Mm-hmm. But that's my starting sets this week for fantasy.
Yeah, no, there were some good picks. I agree. But let's get into this the main course. The main course.
Let's get into the dog shit, ladies and gentlemen.
The dog shit.
So, before I pop off, I want to see what you have to say about this press conference here. And if you're going to be on the same wavelength as I am.
I mean, I'll probably agree with you to some stance. I mean, I don't know what Dave Dombrowski could have said more than just it was basically just him trying to say we suck, but he can't obviously say it in that way because that would obviously paint him as a douchebag. But
you also can't say the stuff that he did say.
Yeah, the stuff was very questionable, especially with Bryce Harper and
dude, he started calling out players.
You can't.
He called out an umpire for not calling strike 3. Are you serious, dude? You're blaming the fact that you lost a series on a freaking umpire?
I mean, to be fair, that was a strike 3 call. They should have got out of the end.
I understand, but this is part of the game. That is if you heard another team making that excuse about when they played the Philadelphia Phillies, what would you be thinking? Weak. That is weak mentality.
Yeah, I agree with that, the weak mentality.
That's weak, dude.
There's a lot of stuff that I did not agree with during this press conference.
There's a lot of stuff that he said that sounded weak to me. Sounded like weak talk.
Besides extending Luzardo. He said he wanted to extend Luzardo, and I said, that's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, but I mean, extending Luzardo is kind of a no-brainer with Ranger leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So,
pretty much.
I mean, do you really want to
'Cause if
give
you're
a
gonna
guy
have-
a pat on the back for something that is blaringly obvious,
Your
staring him in the
Your
face?
rotation could be a whole lot different come like 2027, especially if there's no baseball.
Yeah. And I did like some of the things that he did say regarding the younger players by
Yeah, he
giving them
was-
a shot.
He was basically more focused on the younger players than.
But if we're really sitting here at the exit press conference of 2025 saying that the saving grace for the Phillies is going to be 3 rookies that are going to be promoted to save this team and get them over the hump for a World Series, can we quit fooling ourselves?
Yeah, I can't
please?
rely on rookies yet. They don't have any experience.
Like, I wrote this down. You're relying on some guy 2 years from Tommy John who had a 5+ ERA in the minors this year. So that's Andrew Painter.
Yeah,
So
that's Painter.
You're relying
obviously.
on him.
The only one that
You're
had
gonna
promise were Crawford and Miller. Those were the ones that were pretty decent last year.
And even Crawford, there's troubling things about him. Like, he doesn't hit for power. He's another left-handed hitter, which you don't need, especially in this outfield. You don't need another left-handed hitter
Yeah, and that's what
in this outfield.
Rob Thompson came on to his part, and he was like, we want to add a right-handed batter, and he obviously got a couple of free agents available with JT and Harrison Bader, and then Dombrowski said, we're not going to bring all 4 of them back. There's no shot they're going to retain.
No, they don't have the money to.
They don't have the money to, and
People that want them to go out there and spend more money, they're already spending $260 million on this
Yeah,
roster.
they're gonna
How much more do you want them to
they're
spend?
going to keep the same payroll. And
Like, do you want them to spend $500 million?
Yeah,
Like,
they're gonna come out and keep the same payroll due to, and then the season after that could be impending lockout, so they're gonna be sticking with the same payroll. So it's
yeah, they're not going to be increasing payroll 2 years away from a potential lockout
Yeah.
and CBA renegotiations. And not only that, this CBA coming up in 2027 is huge for the fact that there's going to be 2 new teams that are going to be introduced by the time this CBA is over. You know, by the end of 2027 and the start of the 2028 season, there will be 2 new teams at least announced. Because MLB has already said they're going to expand the next time the CBA comes around.
They want to expand. They want to do that little bullshit. Dude,
The realignment. I mean,
the realignment, which is
I'm all for adding more teams to the league. Like, I'm never going to be someone that's
But-
going to be against adding more competition.
yeah, but that can't be like the division with the Red Sox, Phillies, Yankees.
No,
They
I
can't be like
100% agree with you. Just because you add teams to the league doesn't mean you need to change the integrity and the history of what's already transpired throughout the 100+ years of baseball history.
Yes,
you know?
rivalries.
Right. And if you want to potentially move some teams out of one division into another just because there's no real clear-cut rivalry that they have within their own division, like take the Pirates, for example. Do they really have a clear-cut rival within that division? Like, the Reds and the Cardinals hate each other. The Cardinals
Yeah.
and the Cubs hate each
The
other.
Cardinals and the Cubs hate each other.
The
The Brewers and the Cubs hate each other.
Do any of those teams hate the Pirates? Is there any animosity towards
Yeah,
the
I don't-
Pirates for any team in that division? Like, I don't really think
Because
so.
the Pirates are the laughing stock. They're
Exactly.
the bottom of the bunch.
Like, same with like Colorado. Like, you want to potentially move Colorado from the NL to the AL, which is what I've seen proposed. And I mean, sure, you could do that, but the reason you can do that is because Colorado's a laughing stock. You can't take Philadelphia and New York and Washington, D.C., these big, very important markets and places where these fan bases will consistently show up for these teams outside like what they do in Colorado. You know, like if you were to take Colorado, move them from the NL to the AL, I don't really think Colorado fans are going to be that upset
That
about
doesn't matter. It's
They're
like,
not gonna
it's like Houston
care.
going from NL to AL. No
Right.
one really cared.
They're not going to care too much about that. If you were to take the Phillies and put them in the same division with the Yankees and the Red Sox, you would get a lot of
Yeah.
shit from all 3 fan
You're
bases for that.
losing rivalries from the Mets, the Braves. Like, those are some of the most biggest rivalries in all of baseball.
And also, with what just happened in the playoffs this year, are you really going to take the Yankees and Toronto out of the same division with each other?
no.
Why would you do that?
That was...
That was a phenomenal series.
yeah.
Like, why would you take those 2 teams away and make them play each other less? Like, I understand that you want to make things more regional and you want things to be less travel on the players, but you can work that into the schedule. You don't have to completely change around the dynamic of the league. You could just make it so that, hey, when the Phillies are, going to be in San Diego to play San Diego, let's make sure that LA is also home that series. This way, Philadelphia can just go from San Diego to LA. Boom. Just minimal travel. And you still get the games.
They're not going to feel jet lag because they're already on the West Coast.
Exactly. I know the players probably aren't going to be happy with longer road trips, but that also means longer homestands. Like you can't have one without the other. You can't have more longer road trips.
If you have a 10-game road trip and then you come back to a
14-game homestand.
Exactly.
Like you're going to be like players will maybe be a little bit upset about having to do more 10-game road trips, but I can guarantee you they'll be a lot more happier that they get to spend 2 weeks then at home with their family. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these players will have their family living in somewhere close to where the home stadium is, whether or not it's a permanent home or just an apartment or something like that they have for the season. There's not a lot of times where, I'm a player, I'm married with kids, and I'm going to go play in, let's say Arlington, Texas. My family's not going to stay out in, Marlton, New Jersey.
No,
they're going to come.
Yeah, they're going to come with you to a place in the Fort Worth area.
Right, and they're not going to sit there and go on every single road trip with me, but they might go on 4, Like
they might go on a couple, but...
Right, and I think every player would be more open to those 10-game road trips if you were able to follow that up with, hey, you can have those 10 games on the road and then come back for 2 weeks and be with your family and play at home for 2 weeks. I feel like a lot of players would take that trade-off because how many times during the season do they get 2 weeks to spend with their family probably? Not a lot.
Yeah, not a lot.
There's not many 14-game homestands that you get. So
I do like that idea.
Yeah, like there are ways to work around the travel. It's just you have to be open and willing to having more longer road trips.
The commissioner, that's not going to happen.
But let's get into the real thick of it now because we got sidetracked a little bit by the CBA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Dave's comments, I'm just going to start at the top. Every single coach is coming back.
Yeah, that's going to be
every single coach.
Oh, we're getting a major league field coordinator.
And they're adding a new one.
Mm-hmm.
So the issue last year was that there wasn't enough coaches. These guys didn't have enough coaching.
And now they're adding another coach.
Like sometimes the expression of too many cooks in the kitchen, someone needs to get out, is the actual thing that's happening here, and not more cooks need to come into the kitchen. Like, if you already have like 20 to 30 some coaches, do you really need to add another coach?
Apparently, 80% of teams use this major league field coordinator, and it helps them.
Well, yeah, that's fine. You can have major league field coordinator. You can make that a position, but you can also have some change among the staff and fire some people too.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you don't fire anyone doesn't mean you need to create a new position.
It's like the Eagles are playing scared and they have to fire everyone.
Like, you can sit there and, all right, let's say maybe you don't want to fire Kevin Long because you really like Kevin Long and the players really like Kevin Long. Fire dude on his staff.
Yeah, or you could...
I don't care about his assistant.
Yeah, no one cares about that.
Like, I don't care. And probably none of the players really care too much about who his assistant. So, that was just really stupid.
Obviously.
Hearing him say that. Like, I don't know if you had the same reaction to when he said, we're going to keep everyone, and really what we're going to do is we're going to add a coach.
I wasn't really fond with them keeping all the coaches. I feel like they should have, gotten rid of maybe one or two, but...
So, you're running it back with the same exact coaching staff.
I like Cotham.
Yeah, that's fine. You can keep Cotham. I don't have any problem with Cotham. And really, I don't have any problem with Kevin Long, the actual guy himself, or the actual coach that he is. I don't
pay attention to any of the coaches like that.
Like, at some point, it does get to a point where what can Kevin Long do? He's not going to go out there and take the at-bats for these guys.
Exactly.
Like, at some point, it is taken out of his hands, and it's all the players. And if you want to say that it wasn't his fault for... this season, okay, fine. You want to say it's not his fault for this season. They did go up against a very good pitching staff in the Dodgers. That is a factual statement.
Yeah, they're dominating the Brewers.
Yeah,
so.
that I can't sit here and argue that point. What I can do is say, if you like Kevin Long so much, and what he's doing isn't working with the team he has around him, why don't you get a new team around Kevin Long to refigure out how they can help these hitters? Because who you have in here isn't working.
Because we're not going to be able to rely on these young guys right now.
And if you really like Kevin Long and the players really like Kevin Long, then that's fine. But you can't just run it back with the same everything and expect different results. Something has to change in order for there to be some type of different outcome. If this has been the outcome the past 3 years with this coaching staff and his assistants, what is going to sit there and make Dave Dombrowski or anyone else think that a fourth year with all the same people is going to suddenly change everyone's approach?
It's like a shrug. Hold on, this is a good part where you said a lot of what ifs and buts. That's pretty much about it.
Yeah.
What ifs and buts.
That's all I freaking heard from that press conference. If Trey Turner makes this throw on the third base side of the bag, on the third base side of home plate instead of the right side of home plate, or if Matt Strong executes this pitch and doesn't give up a 3-run homer, or if Kemp doesn't panic and he actually knows how to play baseball and throws the ball to first base, dude, this is too many ifs. And
yeah, it's not like, what, are you going to step into the player's shoes and actually correct the play?
And the thing that he's saying was the ifs is stuff that is completely controllable by the players. It's not like he's saying if that ball didn't take a random bad bounce off the infield dirt and hopped over someone's head. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about decision-making that players are making in the moment.
Yeah, like if Strom was able to execute a perfectly good pitch and Teoscar was somehow able to hit it out miraculously. But he just gave a cookie, down the middle.
Exactly. That's not a physical error. I would be much more comfortable with what he was saying if what he was pointing to was physical errors that the players have no control over themselves.
What if Nick Castellanos didn't chase every single slider out of the strike zone? I don't know.
My problem is that he picked out every single opportunity for the players to actually be better than what they performed and said, oh, what if this and what if that? Bro, don't give me what ifs. It didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen. Stop trying to. I mean,
what if Trey Turner throws the ball to that side of, all right, yeah, they get out of that inning without giving up a run. There's no guarantee that they still win that game, dude. If Kerkering picks up the ball and throws it to first base, all right, yeah, they get out of that inning and it's still a tie game. But there's no guarantee that they still win that game, dude. That's how you're talking.
This was how bad that game was, or they wouldn't win.
Exactly. But he's sitting there talking like he's trying to convince the fan base, oh yeah, if he just would have made that play, we would have won that game. If Trey Turner would have made this throw, we would have won that game. If the umpire would have called strike 3 here, we would have won that game. It doesn't correlate like that.
We wouldn't.
All that means is you would have gotten out of that specific inning without giving up a run.
And who knows what happens? That's basically that's basically the answer that should have been said by him. Who knows what happens if that's called strike 3? Who knows if he makes that play? Who knows of that?
It just sounds like a lot of excuses. And that's the one thing that he should not have done was make excuses and go, well, our club's really good. We went up against another really good club that has a really good pitching staff.
Every fucking time.
Dude, you do realize what he basically said was, the past couple of years, we just got lucky that someone else knocked out the Dodgers. That's basically what he said.
Yeah.
He said, we went up against a club that's clearly the better club. And, they've got the better pitching staff, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, and what happened What happened with the Mets? Were they the better club?
How come the Padres were able to win against the Dodgers? How come all the teams that knocked them out in the playoffs the previous couple of seasons were able to do it?
Here's the thing about the Dodgers. Clearly, we were the better club. We had more wins. We had the bye in the division. The Dodgers dealt with injuries
we actually
all season.
outscored the Dodgers in the entire... Give me a goddamn break.
And we outscored the Dodgers and couldn't couldn't.
You outscored the Dodgers because you had 8 runs in one freaking game.
Yeah,
that's the only reason why.
It was pretty much a freebie.
Yeah, there's don't try to fool me with bullshit, and don't try to fool these fans and everyone in the Delaware Valley with shit that he knows we're not going to eat up.
Yeah, that was not a good press conference.
He had to have gone into that
whatsoever.
press conference knowing that we were going to hate everything that he said, and he still went in and said it.
I mean, what else could he have said? Just
I mean, he
like-
could have said it like this, and this probably would have gone over so much better. I'll give you an example. You know, we really like the club that we have. We really like the core players that we have. We went up against a very good team, and we just didn't have enough to get over the hump. Now, that means that I have to do a better job going forward of putting together this roster to make us better to get over the hump of the Dodgers.
Job of
But that's not what he
roster.
said. Like, he didn't say anything about getting over the hump of the Dodgers, did he?
No,
He said
he just said the pitching was good.
he said
and that was it.
we need to get lucky with our matchups. Essentially, is what he said.
Well, what kind of matchups do you have when the Dodgers have spectacular pitching? There's no luck in the matchups.
And also, like, all right, you want to sit there and go, yeah, they're the defending world champions, blah blah blah. They're the defending world champions, and they added Blake Snell, dude. What did you do after last year? You had a worse season, and you got not even close to the same player as Blake Snell in your offseason. Yet you're telling me the team that actually won the entire thing last year went out and got better at the end of last season? And you're going to sit there and go, oh, yeah, well, you know, they just have a better club. Well, you do better freaking job then.
We got Max Kepler and Jordan Romano. We don't need Blake Snell.
And let's be honest here. What has Dave Dombrowski done that's been a great revelation in this town? You know what he's done? Offer a lot of money to guys that aren't going to turn down $300 million contracts.
Schwarber and trade for Duran.
Like, he's done no actual good. Like, point me to a signing that was a low-cost signing or low anything that actually panned out well for this team with Dave Dombrowski. I will wait.
A low-cost signing?
Yeah.
I will be waiting here till 2075.
It's because there is none.
There is none, yeah.
The lowest one was Dave Robertson, and he was brought in on a pro-rated $15 million contract.
That was pro-rated. That wasn't even for the full season.
Right. That was for a month. For a month and a half. But still, that is ridiculous. The fact that I have to sit there and say that your most impactful low-cost signing has been some guy you signed to 1 year, $15 million.
Yeah,
that's insane.
None of their low-cost signings ever work out.
Yeah, that's like, if you're going to be a good general manager and a Hall of Fame general manager like you are, you need to be able to find players that will have that impact. You know? Like, the Dodgers are so good because they have players that can do that. Andy Paz is on a rookie contract right now, making like $900,000 a season. That's it. The Phillies need more of that. That's what the Phillies need. They need Paz-type players that will play.
Can I interest you in upcoming free agent Lane Thomas?
Lane Thomas. Oh my goodness, dude.
Because that's some shit Dombrowski would say. Call it an off season.
And for him to sit there and say this team has no glaring holes, excuse me, Dave, are we watching the same baseball team? Would you say that the entire outfield isn't a goddamn hole?
Yeah, the entire outfield is just...
The entire outfield is a freaking black hole. You have a guy that is not going to be here, Max Kepler, another guy that is not under contract right now in Harrison Bader. Two guys that you had as part of your outfield are not even guaranteed to be here next season because they might go leave somewhere else. You're going to trade the other guy because he hates Rob and Rob hates him. So you're left with two outfielders of March who hit 077 in the goddamn playoffs. Tell me that's not a hole. Tell me again, Dave, that there's no glaring holes on this team, and I will show you 6 of them.
3 outfield spots. Third base, second base,
Bullpen.
And then what if Schwarber doesn't come back? What if JT doesn't come back?
Exactly.
7, 8.
And like
that's almost a full lineup.
You can't run it back with this team.
One of the things they said on the radio was like there was no choice to run it back just because there's just so much veterans on this team that are on to long-term deals. You really just got to give them as much opportunities as you want. I was like, well,
I do see that, but then you end up with the same situation that we were in when we did the same thing with Howard, Utley, Rollins, and all of them. It's gonna, if you do that and you ride it out with these guys, it's gonna happen again, and you don't win a World Series, then guess what? You just wasted 15 years of that time to not win a World Series, and you're not going to be good for another 10 years.
And then it's going to be like the Sixers. This team is going to turn into the Sixers soon.
They kind of already are.
They are in like Sixers territory.
Think about it. They're in mediocrity. They've gotten bounced from the first round that they played the past 2 years. They have an aging veteran squad.
Wait, technically the DS is the second round, so they're just like the Sixers getting out of the second round.
But it was the first the first series they played in.
Yeah.
They got bounced in the first series 2 years in a row that they played. Same as the Sixers. They have an aging veteran roster that has been more susceptible to injury this past season, like the Sixers. They don't have much young talent to replenish the old and aging people that they have.
Just like the Sixers.
Like the Sixers.
And then they sign like trash bums just like the Sixers.
And not only that, but you've put yourself in a spot where you've got so much money committed to the guys that you have that aren't performing that you can't go out there and sign a big name impact player. You have to find a diamond in the rough at this point. If you're Dave Dombrowski.
Yeah, because what if you go out there and be like, yeah, let's just sign Kyle Tucker. Let's just sign Pete Alonso, Alex Bregman. Like,
yeah, they don't have enough money to do that.
Kyle Schwarber.
This isn't LA or New York.
No, this isn't unlimited money. And if they're gonna have to, because they already said they're either gonna trade or cut Nick Castellanos.
Yeah.
You're not getting a trade partner for Nick Castellanos. You lose. I saw a tweet on like $50 million in luxury tax penalties because of the $20 million, and then you got to do all this deferrals and penalties. So you're going to be losing money.
Yep. By trading him away, you're also
you're not. You'll save more money trading him away. You'll lose more money cutting him, and they're obviously not going to cut him. They're going to try their best to get a trade partner.
But even if you do trade him, you're going to have to eat most of that contract.
Yeah, 100%. No team is going to look at that contract and say,
you're going to have to eat...
I don't want $20 million for -1 WAR.
You're probably going to have to eat at least $12 million of that contract. At least.
Oh, yeah. At least 60%. If not,
so
even more.
Let's just do a little math, right? With the money coming off the books in Schwarber, Romano, JT, and there's
Harrison Bader, Ranger Suarez.
Yeah, Bader,
Kepler.
Suarez. I think the total comes out to like $62 million that's coming off the books, right? You're going to give 30 to 35 of that to one player in Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
And then you're potentially going to give JT 2 years at around $10 million. So you're already at 40 to 45. You need to fill out the rest of your roster with $20 million.
$20 million. Like, see, that's the thing, and that's where it comes into play. Like, you're stuck with, having to sign these garbage Max Kepler, Jordan Romano type players.
But that's why I'm saying you need to go out there and be proactive in the Rule 5 draft. You need to be proactive in trades.
Because there's always some steals you can find in the Rule 5 draft.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example of that, Shane Victorino. Shane Victorino was a Rule 5 draft pick in 2006, I believe. He was hurt most of that season, didn't play, ended up playing towards the end of 2006, and then got his chance to start in 2007. And look at the player Shane Victorino turned into.
Exactly. He's a club legend here.
Exactly. Jason Worth, another guy that, even though he wasn't a Rule 5 draft pick, he was a guy that came up with the Dodgers, I believe, in 2005. He had a wrist injury or a hand injury early on in that season. Didn't play all of 2005. Didn't play the rest of 2005 and didn't play all of 2006. The Dodgers let him go because they basically thought that his career was over. Pat Gillick picks him up for 1 year at $1 million. And Jason Worth ends up
happened.
5 years later getting a $175 million contract from the Nationals.
It's like a game of luck.
Like,
pretty much.
But it's not luck, though. Like, Pat Gillick, do you really think he signed Jason Worth off of luck?
No.
And drafted Shane Victorino off of luck? They had that they were looking for in players that they identified and went out and got.
Who knows how they would have turned out. But Instead, we'll give Lane Thomas a 1-year contract at $10 million, and he'll hit 217.
Like, no. What you got to do is, I mean, I'm not saying that can't work. I'm just saying that that's not probably the best way to get better for this team is just by going out there in free agency and spending money. That's clearly not the way that this team is going to get better because it hasn't worked for them.
No, yeah, you just can't go out there and spend boatloads of cash and just say this team is going to get better.
Like, John Marks looked up on the internet the other day how much money the Yankees have spent since the last time they won a World Series. Over $3 billion. And it's been 12 years? They won it last in 2009, correct? It's 14 years.
What, the World
16
Series?
years.
08, yeah, 08.
No, the Yankees.
Oh, the Yankees
won in 09.
The Yankees was 09, yeah, and then they made it this year. They made it in 24, and then they lost.
But from 09 to now, they have spent $3 billion on free agent
haven't won
contracts,
anything.
and they haven't won the World Series.
Who have they brought in?
I mean, Giancarlo.
Giancarlo was a trade, yeah, but they just signed him right after.
Right.
Max Fried.
Yeah, Fried. Garrett Cole.
Yeah, Garrett Cole.
Juan Soto was a trade.
Soto was a trade, but they did give up a decent amount of pieces for him. I don't know who else they really signed besides, like, Aaron Judge got a big payday.
Remember, like, Anthony Rizzo got that contract for like 3 years, $50 million a couple years ago.
So
Bellinger, they signed to a decent contract this past season.
Free agent.
So, like, they've spent a lot of money on players, and it hasn't translated into a World Series.
It hasn't turned out at all yet. The farthest they've made was last year.
So the answer can't just be spend more money. Yeah, because that's not the answer.
Clearly, it hasn't worked. The Yankees, it hasn't worked for them.
Exactly.
There hasn't been the homegrown talent that the Yankees have. Anthony Volpe is not that good of a player.
And I mean, would anyone disagree with saying that the Yankees have more money to spend than the Phillies?
The Yankees have the most money outside of the Dodgers to spend.
Right, and it hasn't worked for them. So what makes people think that it will work in a city that has less money?
Exactly.
Like, you can't just go the avenue of we're just going to throw money at people because, like, it's not realistic. So anyone that just wants them to go out there and sign some guy for $200 million, $300 million.
This isn't a video game where they have unlimited money.
Right. Like, that's just not a realistic possibility. So people that think that, like, just get that out of your head because it's not going to happen. They're not going to go out and sign Bregman or Tucker or anyone.
They're not going to be able to make any big moves.
Right. They're not going to be able to.
Contract situation.
The only way they're able to make a move like that is if Kyle Schwarber walks. And if everyone wants Kyle Schwarber back, then you can't have it both.
You can't bring back Ranger Suarez and Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, you can't bring back everyone that you have and sign another $300 million player.
You can't. This isn't unlimited money.
Exactly. Like, there are rules that have to be abided by.
Phillies fans think that the money grows on trees. And then what happens now when you sign all these players to big contracts, the fans are happy, and then boom, lockout because there's a salary cap. Well, and then people are going to complain, why is there a salary cap?
Well, not only that.
You're the idiots that wanted to bring in these expensive players.
Don't the fans already complain enough about the prices in the stadium?
They do.
You do realize if you sign Kyle Schwarber and you sign someone else for $300 million,
their prices are
going to boom,
prices are going to go up way more. It already costs $6.50 for a water.
Dude, it already costs $17.50 for a freaking beer. You want to pay $22 next year?
$25 for a beer, dude.
You want to pay $22 next year for a freaking 16-ounce Bud Light. Is that really what you want to be spending your days in the ballpark doing?
Oh my goodness, dude. That's ridiculous.
Like, have some realistic expectations here, people. Please. I'm all for alternative methods, but don't just give me some nonsense that is completely impractical. All right? If you want to say you got to get creative, you got to go out and, like, if you want to say what I'm saying, you got to get rid of players. You got to find a way to get in someone that's going to be impact.
You got to find someone in the rough like that.
That's fine. You can sit there and say that. But you can't sit there and go, the way for this team forward to get a World Series is to just spend $500 million.
Then, what I just said with the salary cap, people are going to complain, why is there a salary cap? Well, because you signed all this money, now all the owners are angry.
Yeah.
Why don't
That's exactly what's happening with the Dodgers right now.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lockout in a salary cap because the lowly Brewers who spend no money are getting
literally
pummeled by the Dodgers.
After one game,
$1 trillion a season.
The Dodgers Brewers, there was an article out on ESPN talking about a salary cap.
Of course there is, because the Dodgers have $1 billion payroll.
Yeah.
The Brewers won all 6 games thinking they could win against the Dodgers.
Honestly, as a fan,
they've been dominated.
Having a salary cap is better for us.
And there's going to be a salary cap in this sport.
Because you know what salary cap does? It creates competition. It creates parity. Look at the other leagues that have salary caps. Look at the NFL. When was the last time the NFL had, one team that went to the playoffs 14 straight years in a row?
Every team has...
Like the Braves or like the Yankees.
Every team has salary cap. The only team that I can think of, really, is the Patriots. And
yeah, but they were able to do that through creative ways and through their own players going, you know what, I'm going to take less money so I can make my team better.
They didn't have to sign Tom Brady to a multi-year contract.
People made personal sacrifices for in their own money.
There's no teams that make the playoffs consistently. The only team really that I can see now maybe is the Chiefs, but
right. But the reason that they've been able to do that has been the fact that they've got Patrick Mahomes, and look what's transpired the past 2 years.
They've drafted Patrick Mahomes, their wide receivers. I mean, even the Eagles, they've drafted their entire offensive line. Hurts, the only receiver really that
isn't from draft picks or through inside is AJ Brown
and Saquon the running back. But besides that, they were able to draft everyone. Basically, draft mostly everyone on their defense.
Yeah.
Here's your example of now finding someone in the rough. Zach Bond.
Perfect example.
A perfect example.
Complete perfect example.
Finding someone in the rough, and now look what happened to him. All pro and earned himself a big contract.
Or like Steph Curry is a diamond in the rough. When Steph Curry was coming out of college, he wasn't consensus.
He was a no talented prospect.
Right. He wasn't like this consensus top 3 pick. Like, no, he was a top 15 pick that ended up working and turning himself into the player that he is now.
One of the greatest shooters of all time. So
what you need is someone like that. The only way you get that is if you get in the right guy with the right personality that has the determination, that has all of the right situation around him to get him to that level.
You just need that Zach Bond type of player.
Because it's not like Steph Curry was great immediately when he came into the league. He came into the league and was hurt for most of his first 4 to 5 seasons, up until he started working with this one strength and conditioning coach that told him, the reason why you keep getting hurt is because your ankles are too weak. You need to build up strength in your ankles and your feet. And once you build up that strength, you'll stop getting hurt and you can play. And then what happened? He turned into probably the greatest shooter ever to play basketball.
In our generation.
Like, that is insane. That is what the Phillies need to find. They need to find someone like that.
It's just going to be such a rough off season. So,
and one thing I also want to touch on.
Yeah, do this last thing before I call it.
Is the Bryce thing.
Yeah,
because I don't think we've mentioned the Bryce thing yet, have we?
Just the part where he said that he might not be elite anymore.
Yeah. He basically came out.
That breaks my heart.
And said that Bryce Harper will have to see if he ever gets back to an elite level player.
He had a down season, his standards, but he's still an all-star caliber player.
Right. I mean, Dave did say that. He said that he's still an all-star caliber player. He's just not elite.
Hear this with Bryce. In like his 4th or 5th season in baseball, they were calling him an overrated baby. Coming into the city, he's already missed the playoffs with the Phillies. Telling everyone that he's an overrated baby, comes out of nowhere, wins MVP.
And I mean, there's nothing that I can sit there and point to where I would say that there's reason for concern with Bryce as of right now.
There's no concern with Bryce right now.
Other than the wrist.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
He's dealt with so much injuries here. Hit in the face, hit by Snell, hit in the wrist, tore his UCL. Like, he's gone through so much.
And most of those injuries are really injuries that aren't lingering injuries, and they're not injuries that will continue to pop up throughout the rest of his career. But this wrist thing seems like it will be. It came on last year.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
at the beginning of the season this year.
Maybe they'll talk about his...
He said that it never really healed.
He has a full off season, and...
He had a full off season last year,
He had a full off season, 2 off seasons in a row to recover.
And he didn't get surgery on it last year. I don't know if he's going to get surgery on it this year, but he said that it never fully healed.
So what I would do is get the surgery.
I agree. I just don't know if that is... I don't know if he gets the surgery in the offseason, if he's ready for opening day. Like, I have no idea what the timetable for his return would be if he were to get the surgery. I don't know if that's what's staving him off from getting it. But if he's going to have this wrist issue come up for, the next couple of seasons, like it has the previous two,
then he's not going to be that same player.
Right.
He needs to get the wrist figured out.
He's probably not going to be elite then. One thing that I will always come back to as well, is Zach Wheeler going to come back? I understand he said he's going to.
But like what you said last time, what blood clots can always come back.
Exactly. Like, it's not, and it's completely out of his control at this point.
2026 is probably going to be his last season.
Yeah, and if it's not 2026, it's 100% 2027, because that's when his contract runs out.
And there's going to be a lockout, so.
Right. And if he's, like, there's potential that he might have another issue in the offseason where it clots up while he's training, and he might retire. He might go, dude, I'm way too old to be dealing with this.
He could petition for a medical retirement, especially since he's already announced that he wants to finish after the 2027 season.
And plus, like, let's just put ourselves in Zach's shoes here. You can die from a blood clot. Like, you can die from having that happen. So it is very serious.
So it's serious, yeah.
Like, this is not something where it's just like, oh, we get fine, I don't have to worry about it.
You can't, like, shrug this off.
Right, like, this is a very serious condition that he's dealing with. And you gotta suspect that not only does he himself probably have doubts in the back of his mind, what does his family think?
Yeah, what does his family... Yeah, exactly.
Does his wife really want him to put his potential life on the line for another 1 season, 2 seasons of baseball, when they have 4 children that are all underneath the ages of, like, 7 years old? Like, that's a very real thing to consider.
If his off-season recovery doesn't go well, he's done.
Potentially. If I was Zach Wheeler and I was getting ready to come back and I had another issue come up in the offseason where it's clotting again...
You're done.
I'm done. I'm not taking the risk of getting surgery on it, getting it removed again.
It's just going to suck seeing him go, but...
100%, but...
Obviously, you want to have him prioritize his health over anything.
So if that's what it's like, we're pinning our hopes on someone coming back that might be retiring.
Yeah, so it's going to be... This is going to be a truly new era of Phillies baseball.
Yeah, and if let's say he does that impact JT's decision? Does that impact Kyle Schwarber's decision? Does that impact anyone else's decision on this team?
So, yeah, it's going to be a very long offseason and very long new era. So, hopefully, during this offseason, we'll actually get some good news, and hopefully
it won't be big news.
It won't be big news yet. Hopefully the Eagles can win on Sunday, because if not, if they don't win on Sunday, I'm destroying the studio. So